Let me see if it's recording. Yeah, it seems like it's recording. Okay, so welcome everybody again. So today is the last class for session 1. So it's the last class for Scratch. And next week, we're gonna start with text coding, which is Python. And if you, I have privately Slack you to the people that told me they want to take the class. So the first thing, please, if you're gonna see my screen here, please, if you want to take next week's class that starts Tuesday, uh, Slack me privately and just tell me, add me to the intro to Python class. That way you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to register on the, I know some of you already register, that's fine. But I just want to have a confirmation between the people that come to the meeting and to know exactly who's going to join in Slack and who doesn't have Slack. So, and if, like I say, if you are going to join for next week and you are not on Slack, please get in Slack. It's going to be more useful. We're going to be using more Slack with Python. If you still don't know what a Slack is or you don't feel comfortable, email me and I'll help you out. So next week for Python, if you don't have Slack, it's going to be very hard for you to catch on with the class because the idea is, if you notice, I was helping Simrad with the Scratch. With Python, I'm going to be able to help you through Slack because you can copy the code directly into Slack. So again, if you want to join next week's class, just Slack me privately now or during the class and tell me I want to join. Some of you already had a confirmation you are in the class. And there is no like a limit on the class that we have. I mean, I have 50 people. It's not like people are dying to come to the class. So you can decide anytime this week. Okay, so anybody has any questions about what we did last week, which was debugging? So some of you told me that I have work on debugging. Any other questions about debugging? You can tell me on Tuesday class channel if you are fine. If you're gonna need working more, that's fine. You have all week to work on this, but I'm gonna add more homework today. So I don't see anybody putting anything, so I'm guessing everybody is fine with debugging, which is awesome. I see Simrad, yeah, she told me she had all of them done except the birthday cake, which it might just be a bug on the browser. But it seems like everybody's a professional. Great job with debugging conditionals and sequence. So conditionals, we're going to be doing a lot of conditionals in Python. So you want to do Python, you have to have your conditionals sharp. So today we're going to do variables. So anybody knows what a variable is? You can type it on Slack or unmute yourself and let me know. I mean, we use variables in math. We use variables on statistics, changeable values. Yeah, changeable values. So if you see my little picture here, thank you, of a bucket. Sometimes I call it a drawer, because if you have closets and you put things in drawers, or if you have a kitchen counter and you put all your kitchen utensils there and you close it. So yeah, they're changeable values. They are containers that contain values. So that's the physical uh, uh, definition of variables. You may have seen variables in math where you just assign a value to a X or a Y. In computer science, we do the same thing. So there are little slots of memories where you just save things in there. So what kind of the things we can save in there? We're gonna save numbers. So in computer science, we have something called integers. Those are numbers, round numbers without any, no decimals. So we have here an example of a integer, which is go from 0 all the way to millions, billions. Well, I had to stop there because integers, they have a limit how big the how much memory they can hold. So they are actually a bigger variable that you data type that you can hold big numbers. But and I don't have it written here because we're gonna talk about that next week. So integers, I think this is the maximum of numbers or digits you can have. You can Google what is the maximum of digits you can have in an integer, and it goes by the memory. Floating points are decimals. We're not gonna touch floating point. If you take a higher level class, if you go to Code Academy or go to college or take a class, you're gonna do floating points. I'm not gonna do floating points. Char are characters. So we're going more into letters. Anything that is a number can be a char. Is anything that the computer is gonna read that is not gonna read the same way than an integer. We're gonna do chars. That's a higher level programming, so it'll be like something you see after you finish arrays. And if you're gonna do arrays, but we're not gonna do arrays, that will be maybe next year if there is enough people. But I just wanna show you the different data available types. Strings, we're gonna do strings. Strings are values that are text-based. So anything that you type, for example, for a form that you are typing on Google, the program is taking your whatever you're typing and is putting it into a string variable. So anything text-based is gonna be a string, and we're gonna work on strings. Then we're gonna be doing, the next one is Booleans. Booleans are true, false, on, off. They are false, and so true, false are Booleans. 0 and 1 are Boolean. Anything is a binary value. So it's either this or that. So on and off in a switch, in binary 0 and 1, and true and false. So that's a Boolean. And actually a conditional is kind of like a Boolean because you have to satisfy a condition, and the condition has to be true. So if you satisfy a condition, it's true. If you don't satisfy, it's false. So so that's what a Boolean is. So anything has to do with equal or not equal. So it's equal or not equal is a Boolean kind of data type. So we have that. I just want to show you that variable, but we're going to practice a little bit about the other one are functions. So anybody has any experience working with functions on computer science, create functions, or anybody has figured out how to make functions on Scratch? Everybody's quiet today. No more, no many. It's like, nope. So nobody knows what a function is. Or is somebody knows what a function is? So somebody is typing, I can't wait. A function takes inputs, perform a task, producing an output. Very good. Yes, Natalie. And Afsana, yes, she knows what a function is. So a function is, yes, like Natalie says, a function takes inputs. So it's a relationship. Yeah. So it's almost like it's a recipe. So if you know how to make bread and you have done bread many, many, many times in your life and you can do it with your eyes closed, you know that's going to be your function. You already have it set up in your head what you have to do, all the steps you have to do, and your inputs are going to be the ingredients and the output is going to be the baked bread. So in functions, we're going to have data, so variables, data types, and variables, our inputs. And then we're going to save that function and we're going to, like if you spend creating a bread an hour, maybe next time it takes you 20 minutes because you already know that on your head. So it might take you 20 minutes because you're going to have everything ready and you just put it in the oven and voila, you had your bread and you're done. So that's a function you have in your brain. So in the same thing, computer science, if you spend maybe an hour or so creating all these steps to make maybe the scratch cat turn, then you're going to save that into a function. And next time you want to do that, you just take that function, put in your program, and guess what? In 2 seconds, you're done. And you have more time to create. So that's the definition of function, something you can save. Most programs have built-in functions. So it's kind of like a riddle, like a Alice in Wonderland riddle, because you can make a function, but the program that you're using already has a built-in function. So all these blocks that you see here that you recognize from scratch are built-in functions. So it's kind of like, what was first, the chicken or the egg? So somebody long time ago started building all these riddles inside to create inside the code of Scratch. So you can just use this block and instead of doing all the riddles. So this is a built-in function. That block they give to us on Scratch, they're built-in functions. When we go to Python, we're gonna have built-in functions that we have to get in a file and put it on our program so we don't have to rediscover the wheels. We just call that function that is already designed embedded in our language so we don't have to redo it. And so, but when you don't have something that has been, that you want to create something that is not a built-in function, that's when you make your own function. And you can save that function to use it later. So I have a little example. If nothing else works, I have a little example here. Like a function could be A equal B plus C. So these are variables and you're gonna change the variable B. Sometimes maybe it's gonna be 10, sometimes it's gonna be 5, sometimes C is gonna be 1. So you can add here different values for B and C. So this is a function. Also, sales tax, the formula to calculate the sales tax. Like if you go to the store and you want to know what is the sales tax, if you're buying a car, you want to know the sales tax, that's a function. You have your inputs are going to be the price and the amount of tax that you get charged, and area, wide times length. The area is a function, then the width or length of the object is gonna be the variable. So gonna be your inputs. And if my explanation didn't make any sense, you can go and click here and then she's gonna explain you what a function is. And also sometimes people call them procedures. for what I understand, it depends what language you're using. Some language, they are more into using the word procedure rather than functions. So I remember a long time ago when I took Fortran, so Pascal, I took all this, the funcs language. We used to call them procedures, and then later on we start saying functions. So it depends what kind of turf you are in, but they are extremely similar. So that's for functions, and then you can create your own function in Scratch by making your own block. So you can click here and it tells you a tutorial how to make a block. And it goes through this. This is like a Google Translate where people can put different greetings in different language, and is made a function. So it shows you here how to make a function. So here is define say hello in random language. That's the function. So then you take this part of the block and you attach it to some other part of the program. So like here. So you attach this whole, like about 10 blocks or more. You put it all under this title, say hello in a random language, and then you close it right here. So when, instead of putting all those blocks there, copy paste those blocks, you just take this one block and you can use it multiple times. And we're gonna do one like that, I'll show you. So I would suggest, just if you don't know how to make blocks in Scratch, go through this tutorial or to learn how to do that. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So this one is called, when we put values into variables and we run a function, see how it is. You put a value, you assign a value into a variable, and then you run the function based on that variable. This is called passing a variable into a function. I know it's like a riddle, but basically I'm going to show you what means here. Okay, so why is this gonna stay slow? There it is, it's big now. So here is telling me, it's asking me what is the number of sides. I'm gonna stop it because I had to start from the beginning. Why is no? So I'm gonna put 8 just because 4 is in there. So I'm gonna put number of sides is 8. I hope you can see it. And I'm gonna please press here, this check mark, and now it's gonna ask me for the length. So I'm gonna put 5. So, and then it's gonna draw very little because it's gonna be little, maybe. Did I draw it? There it is. So you can see this is what it drew, Scratch drew. It has 8 sides. You can see it, but they're there. And then the side is length is 5. So what are my inputs? So if anybody know what are the inputs of the function? The function is to make a polygon. So a polygon is a geometric object that has any number of sides. It could be 4 is a square, 5 is a pentagon, and so on. And then 6 is a hexagon. So, but a polygon, it can have any number of. So if I enter 8 as the sides, and the sides are 5, what are my inputs of the function? So one input, that's correct. One input is 8, is the number of sides. And what is the second input? 5 is the length. Very good. So those are 2 of my inputs. What are my variables? So the number side in line with length. Exactly. Thank you very much. Yeah, somebody answered in Slack. So we enter the inputs into those two variables and then we run the function. So the function is going to be draw a polygon. So I'm going to run it again and make it a little bigger. So I'm going to do 4. And then I'm going to do 10 is going to be the side. See if I draw it bigger. I think so now you can see the square. So I'm going to go inside and I'll show you what's going on. So this is on my studio. I'm going to put the link here on the Tuesday channel. And then I'm going to go inside and you can remix it. So I have one sprite only, and you can see here where I made my function. So my first function is draw a number, draw the sided polygon. And what are my, so this is my function here that I created. So you see, I go here to my blocks. If you go to my blocks here on the left, you're gonna make a block. And that's how I made this. So if I click here, make a block, I put add inputs, and see they have Booleans and then they have labels. So you want a conditional, here is where you do this. But we're gonna do add inputs, and I added 2 inputs because I have length and number of sides. And then those are 2 inputs. So this is what I have here. Except I didn't put the text, but you can put the text. You can edit it and just put the text right here. So you can write polygon, draw a polygon of, and then you click OK. Okay, so I have the function, and then this is my function here, which is gonna repeat and it's gonna move. So let's see what is, you can see now I'm passing variables into my function. So my functions are the number of sides and the number of lengths. So how did I make those variables? So I'm gonna go here on Scratch where it says variable is orange. I'm gonna make 2 variables. So you make a variable, you just call it, I'm gonna make sides. And then that's a variable that is created for this sprite, but also for all sprites. So if you click for this sprite only, it's gonna work only, it's gonna be a local variable, it's gonna work only for that sprite. And when we click for all variables, what's it called? Global variable, which it works in all the parts of the program. So I'm click for all variables. And you can see here the number of sides. Let me get this one off. So these are the ones I made here. Number of sides. And so where are my variables? Yeah, here. So I have here number of sides and side length. So it's gonna, this is gonna go to those are my, so what you do is you have to put them, oh, okay. So in Scratch is a little, that's why I don't like to do, I like to do, this is gonna be much easier in Python actually. This is one of the things much easier. So you're gonna go, you create your variables here. And then here, the number of sides are gonna, you're gonna get them out like this. See, it comes out, and this one is gonna come out, and then you can use it here on your function. Okay, and then this one, set number 2, is gonna assign my input to the answer, and then when I put here ask, let me make this bigger. When I ask number of sites is what you see here, that it shows this is gonna show because I have asked number of sites. And then that's gonna go in a variable called answer. You don't have to create that variable. It's already created right here on ask. Where is the ask? Anybody remember where the ask is? There it is. It's under sensing. So the ask block has this block here, but also comes with its own variable. So what it means, what you input is gonna be saved in the answer variables. And then what I do, I go here to variables and I have a block that is gonna set, is gonna assign the value that I put here for, it's gonna be assigned to the number of sites, which is a variable. And then it's gonna say the same thing when I ask length, it's gonna assign it to this answer, and then I assign the answer to the variable number of sites. So I created the variable, I created those two variables, and then when I call, that's where the magic happened. I created this function and then I call the function. This is when you call the function, it means that you're gonna use the function. So that's language for technical. I'm gonna call the function. It means I'm gonna write down the function. So the name of the function is draw side polygon with each side, which is what I draw here, what I type here. So I'm gonna bring this, you go here to the block and it has this, and then there is where you put your variables. So I'm gonna do draw number of sides, and then I'm gonna do side length. And this one is connected to this one, and this one is connected to the other one. Okay, so if this doesn't make sense, the best way is to remix this project and then try to break it. And what I mean break it, try to, because it's not gonna go away, you're not gonna be able to delete it. So try to play around. And so in computer science, one of the things you do is test it, but also you wanna break it so you can fix it. So that's another exercise you can do. You can just break it apart. Like, I don't know if you ever try to open a radio. I know when I was little, I always wanted to open a radio and try to put it apart, and I tried to put it together and never worked. But try to do the same thing, like open the hood and break it and see if you can put it together. That's another way to figure out how things work. So if not, you can look at it, and also you can take it apart and click here and see what happened at each point. So I can like click here and I see, oh, I see what happened there. So if not, let's try this part. And then let's try this other part and see what is happening on this part only. So no, it's not happening much. So let's go to this one. And then you see, oh, this is what happened. So you can figure out what each block works. So any question so far? I know I've been talking a lot, which it seems like I have bored all of you. But any questions about this these functions or what I just showed you? So do you think you can try to replicate this or make it better? Make it maybe more succinct? We'll try. Oh, maybe. Okay, so that's not very encouraging. So let's take this apart while we're talking, while we're here. So, so this is the part. So let's go and try what is the function doing? So I'm gonna take this apart for now and let's find out what is the function doing. So if you don't recognize this pen, that pen you get it by clicking on the bottom here. You have to get like an extension. So I add an extension and I need to bring the pen. So when I bring the pen, you get another set of blocks. So just if you don't see the pen on your code on Scratch, it's because you have to add it that way. Then you, the pen, what it is like a robot. You have to to put the pen down. So while it's drawing, while Scratch is moving, it's like having a pen on the paper. And then when you finish, you need to tell it to put the erase it all or put the pen up. So that's what I have here is the pen down. And since it's a function, I'm not gonna tell it to bring the pen up because a function, I'm gonna call it in a specific part. Then, so what is happening here? So I want this to repeat for the number of sides. So if it's are 4 sides, I want this to repeat 4 times. Then it's gonna move whatever length. So if I say 10, it's gonna move 10. Then I put here a weight. You don't have to have the weight. I put the weight so I can show you, so you all can see how it's moving. But you can put 0.5 or take out the weight. You don't need it, but it's gonna be really fast. And then is what are the number of size? So this is more geometry. So if you are a circle, you're gonna rotate. It's like the rotation. So if you have a pentagon or a hexagon, you wanna rotate certain angle. So if it's a square, you're gonna rotate 90. So if you have 360 divided by 4 by the sides, you're gonna rotate 90. If you have a hexagon, so you're gonna rotate 30 and so on. So 30, you're gonna rotate, yeah. So so that's a function that works for each side, for each, it works every time. So it doesn't have an exception. So I don't care how, as long as I have a round number, if it's 4, 2, 5, 3, it's gonna work. So that's a very solid function. So I'm gonna put it here, and this is my first function here. So I have my variables, and if you don't feel comfortable starting with variables, what you can do is assign values. So you can take this out, I can edit it here. And I can put here 4. And I can put here 10. So sometimes it's good to start with solid numbers and then test it with 5 and then test it with 6. And when you feel comfortable, then you can generalize and get a function that works for every single instance. So here is gonna be just a square. So I'm gonna call my function. See if it's gonna call. So I can put here, it should work. Let me stop it because it should work here. Oh, it is not working. But I can go and get my, so do a little test. So this is just me testing it while I'm building it. I don't want to write a bunch of code and then I find out like all that code is not working. So I just gonna do little steps, little incremental steps, baby steps. So I'm gonna just test it with this. So I'm gonna put here 10 and I'm gonna put here 4. Okay, so let's see if it's gonna work. So it's not working. Something is not right. It should work. So I'm gonna create another function because I changed this. So I'm just gonna create a square function. And this is the square. And then I have a little block here, it's called square. And then I'm gonna change this to 4, and that's to 10. And I'm gonna put here 4. So let's see if it's gonna work now. So if I take the cut out, you can see now I have a square. So let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so now I have a bigger square. So let's try now a hexagon. 6 is a hexagon, and then I'm gonna divide this by 6. And now it's not a square, it's a hexagon, but I'm gonna just leave it like that for now. So I can say, oh, the hexagons, what do they have in common, a hexagon and a square? The number of sides. So I can just put here sides, this number sides here, because I know it worked for the hexagon, it go for the square. So now I can put here number of sides. So now I'm building it up. So now I can start adding values here. So I have to ask for values. So that's where it goes to what I was doing here as the number of values. So I can start asking for the values. So try is see, I'm not gonna save this so you all can get the leaf so it doesn't save. So you all can go there to the to Scratch and work it out, break it apart, test it out, methodical baby steps. Just try to do one thing at a time, and before you move to the bigger and testing out the different how it works with different variables. Once you do that, try to do Oscar time. So Oscar time is a big challenge. We did it last spring. I have here all the instructions. You can follow the instructions. This is explained a little bit on the edx.org by Dr. Mallon. It tells you here a little background, and then it start talking to you about how to build it. So it's basically trash is falling down in a random places, and then you have to drag it and put it in the trash can. So it tells you here step by step, and you can see the code is a little bit bigger, right? And the thing is, this is to prepare you for what is coming. When we start with Python, there's going to be a lot of logic, and this kind of get your brain into the wavelength that you have to be when you start building Python. And it's going like these are your training wheels, and it's going to help you in Python and go make it your life easier. Believe me, if I had Scratch when I went to school, my life would have been totally different because it's less intimidating than just writing pure code. So it's all here. All this, what I'm talking about is all on the class. So I'm gonna put it back here again on the Tuesday channel. And you can see is all there. It's the same document. And I just going through that document that I just put on Slack on Tuesday channel. So you just click here and it goes through. So we have talked so far about basic computer science concepts, sequence, pseudocode, conditionals, and now variables and function. Now that you have these tools, you can start the process of layering. So it's like a cake with a lot of layers. So you can start, remember, oh, we did sequence, and we did sequence because we needed to understand pseudocode, and pseudocodes help me to design so I know if I need a conditional, and also to create variables. And the variables are going to be useful because it's going to make my code more succinct, because functions are going to help me not to repeat code over and over and over. And remember, we also talk about loops. So the idea of we've been talking about computational intelligence is about breaking apart big problems and little problems. And so you take a big project and small parts, and you start building it with those concepts. So for example, the Oscar time, you have to build them as a piecemeal. So this is a project, it might take you a couple days to build it. You don't have to finish. I'll show you what I have done and you can stay just there. You have to first make the trash appears random. And random is because there is no pure random in computer science, but you do a pseudo-random, which is a function. Again, it gives you a function from random. So you have to show up, like in a video game, sometimes you have these things popping up in random places. So that's the first project or problem that you have to solve. So that's the first construct. The next one will be how to make the trash glides down. So that's another part. So you start breaking apart this big project, and always referring to the basic that we talk about: pseudocode, sequence, conditionals, loops. Try to use them and use your pseudocode syntax. Like, start breaking down. This comes first. In order for this to happen, this has to come first, and it's like building a puzzle. So the key is this is Dr. Malin explained, is compartmentalize some of the features, do them as piecemeal. Don't try to do the whole thing. Don't try to do the whole thing at once. And you have to design, build, test, fix it, and then redesign, build, test. It's a cycle. And I mean, imagine those people that make apps for video games, or even makes up like Zoom. Zoom has to update. Every other day is updating. Is updating, is fixing and fixing and fixing. If you have an iPhone like I have, there is an update almost every week, because things have to be refixed. It's never done. So when you have a project and software engineers are being told you have to finish by this date, it doesn't mean that it's completely finished. That's the date that has to be functional. So it's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be functional. So you always have, you can work on a project all your life and think that you're never done, but there is a done. There is a place where you have to be done. And it's gonna be when it's solved the project, the problem, and when it's written well. So look at the Oscar time. Here is the lecture where Dr. Mullins talks about the Oscar time. It starts at -36. Here are more information. I'm going to show you the one I made. I have a guide. So if you go here to the assignments at the bottom, this is a guide that I made. Explains you in detail every single thing that you have to do. So everything. I wish I had like 2 more weeks so we can go through this. But if you have any question, even if you don't want to take, you don't have time to take Intro to Python and you want to work on this until December, please stay on Slack and let me know how I can help you. So let me find the ones I made. Let me find, I'll show you the one I made, and so you can at least see if you get to that point. So I don't have the icons, the sprites that from Sesame Street. So I just make my own icons from, I just use whatever was available. And I use only 2 garbage. I got 2 perfect and I didn't follow after that. I just said that's good enough for me. So basically, I'm gonna click and let me take off the volume, that sound, because that's too much. Where is the music? I have to stop the music. Well, I'm gonna lower the volume, the music. Okay, so I put here all the variables. You don't have to show them. I'm showing them so I can see what's happening. So I got a score of 3. So that means I put 3 pieces of trash inside the trash can. So that's what is here. These are variables that helps communicate and tell Scratch what's going on. So basically, if you get 1 trash, you don't have to get the whole, like, you don't have to get all those sprites. Like he has all this garbage is different sprites. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You don't have to do that. If you get it to 1, that's good enough. You have done excellent. So basically you have to get, here it gives you the code. You can follow the tutorial. There is no cheating. You can follow this, because the thing about this is not, oh, I can follow the instruction. Is, do I understand what is going on? Do I understand every single code, script? Do I understand what's going on? So this is a lot of logic. So I can tell you these are variables here that they communicate with each other. So if you do this, you're gonna be in pretty good shape for next week. So at this time, any questions? I know I have talked too much and I feel like we haven't done much. So you can try and scratch on Slack any questions because we're almost done. I have here also, if you want to start with some build up before you try Oscar time, I have here instructions how to keep scores in a game. How is a little video here. It helps you, it teaches you how to use variables to keep scores. And then I have here the Pong game. So this is a lot of fun. The Pong game, I have the whole tutorial, follow the Pong game, and see, it has really nice, it tells you what blocks to use. If you do this, that's gonna be also awesome if you can do the follow the Pong game. This is a lot of fun. I do it, I've done it before with my students and they really like it. And it's something you can play with other people. And if you are into video games, this is it's gonna make sense to you. It's gonna kind of click. Oh, and if you don't play video games, you know what a video game, what a Pong is, if you ever try Pong. So if Oscar time is too much, please follow the Pong game. It's a step, just look at the code and just drag the code and build it up. While you're building, you are creating memory in your mind, and it is exercise memory. It's like a physical, like you're training in a gym, and you're gonna remember this. And then when next week, the following months we're doing Python, I can tell you, oh, you remember if you did the Pong game, this is similar. You remember how we did the game. So you can have a point of reference. So any questions by now? Is everybody like super confused? If you're super confused, let me know. If you need more information about functions or variables, let me know. Yeah, you guys gonna find out, all of you gonna find out, as we move forward, time is gonna be precious. It's just gonna be a lot of time. And this is, I mean, this is one of the things that makes computer science so challenging, is the amount of time. And the longer it's like the more you want to know, the more time, because you need time, like Theo was saying, you need to process it. You have to do it yourself. Nobody can teach it to you. You have to go through it. It's like you have to eat it, you have to digest it. It's like you have to live it. You have to experience it. And to do that, you need time. And this is one of the things that people don't like to do. That's why everybody's asking for computer scientists, because it's just not, nobody has the time or the stamina to stay with it. So so I encourage you, and that's why I'm here. I'm doing this class, and that's why I'm doing Slack. And I hope to be your cheerleader through this, and you don't get discouraged. And if you get discouraged, let me know. I'll see what I can do. And you all have been in a class, so please answer each other's question, because you're all gonna need a support group, so you don't you stay with it. You know, we're gonna have this class until the end of November. So you wanna stay with it, you're gonna need, you know, to stay encouraged, because it's just a lot of time. And how many people, we don't have, some of us don't have a lot of time. But the good thing is, it's gonna allow you, after all this work, everything that's thrown onto you, you're gonna be able to you're gonna have the knowledge how to approach it. So you're not gonna have to spend a whole day try to learn Scratch or try to learn Python, because you're gonna know it, and then it's gonna be easier to get more information, because the beginning is always hard. And computer science has a very big learning curve. So you have this learning curve that is like starts here and then it's kind of levels out. So you have to get over the hump, and then things are easier, and you just need after that commitment. Okay, so I've talked a lot. So I hope to see you, the majority of you, I hope all of you next Tuesday. So we're gonna have, is it gonna be Zoom? And actually I'm gonna give you, if you are joining next week, I'm gonna give you what you need for next week, the tools and gear for next week. Where is it? I'm gonna put it, if I don't find it, I have to find it. Where is it? Tools. Yeah, I'm gonna put the next, you're gonna need to sign up into GitHub and a couple other things, but I'll send you I'm gonna put it on a Slack. So I'm gonna put it on a Slack today. So if you are joining next week, you can get that out of the way. So you guys have a great evening. Enjoy, don't stay up too late, and see you next week.